She's been walking through battles no one sees, holding back tears no one understands, and facing storms she never asked for. People walked away, support disappeared, and the weight on her shoulders feels heavier with each passing day. But what she doesn't know is this: heaven has been standing behind her the entire time, moving, shielding, and fighting for her in ways she can't yet see. There comes a moment in every chosen woman's life when everything grows painfully quiet, when the people she trusted vanish, when the support she depended on collapses, and when the weight she carries feels so heavy it almost steals the air from her lungs. She looks around and sees no one. But somehow she keeps moving. Somehow she keeps breathing. Somehow she rises again, even when her soul feels like it's trembling. And that somehow, that unexplainable strength that appears right when she's about to break, is not coincidence. It's not luck. It's not a burst of willpower. It is God Himself stepping into the invisible places of her life, protecting her in ways she never recognized, lifting her before she falls, and surrounding her with a shield no human eye can see. What you're about to hear is not just information, it is revelation. Today you're going to discover the 7 signs God protects a chosen woman when she has no one but Him. And as each sign unfolds, you're going to realize something powerful. Every tear, every separation, every sudden shift you went through was not abandonment. It was divine intervention shaping your path. Stay until the very end, because sign number 7 carries a truth so deep, so undeniable, that once you hear it, you will never doubt God's presence in your life again. And before we begin, if this message is already stirring something inside you, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment 99 below. Because 99 symbolizes the moment when God leaves the 99 to go after the one who feels alone. And today, that one is you. Sign 1. She survives attacks that should have broken her. There are moments in a chosen woman's journey when life hits her with a force that should have shattered her completely. Not just emotional blows, but situations designed to crush her spirit, dismantle her confidence, and silence her purpose. And yet, every time the world expected her to fall apart, she stood back up. Not because she was ready, not because she was strong, but because something greater refused to let her collapse. What many don't understand is that the chosen woman's survival is not logical. It's not explainable. It's not even humanly possible. There were nights she cried silently, convincing herself she wouldn't make it until morning. But morning came. There were days when the pressure around her tightened like a storm determined to drown her. But somehow, the storm broke before she did. These are not coincidences. These are not lucky escapes. These are divine fingerprints, proof of an invisible hand catching her right before the fall. Attacks that destroy others only sharpen her. Situations that crush others only awaken something ancient inside her, a resilience planted by God Himself. Darkness tried to convince her she was alone, but every time it moved in closer, something pushed it back. She didn't see it, but she felt it. That sudden strength that appears out of nowhere, that whisper telling her not yet, that unexplainable protection that surrounds her when everything else disappears. Survival for her isn't just endurance, it's revelation. It's God saying, I will not let this world break what I have chosen. And here's the twist that keeps her story unfolding. The attacks that were supposed to finish her didn't just fail. They exposed something the enemy feared. They revealed a power she hasn't even learned to use yet, and that truth is only beginning to surface. Sign 2. God removes people suddenly and without explanation. One of the most unsettling experiences for a chosen woman is watching people vanish from her life without warning. Someone she trusted fades overnight. Someone she loved grows distant for no reason. Someone she thought was permanent becomes a stranger in an instant. And because she feels deeply, because she loves boldly, those sudden endings cut like knives. She wonders what she did wrong, why she wasn't enough, why everything fell apart so quickly. But here's the truth she rarely realizes in the moment. What she interprets as abandonment is often divine evacuation. God is not punishing her, He is protecting her. When someone is removed abruptly, it's because there were conversations she wasn't meant to hear, intentions she wasn't meant to discover, betrayals she wasn't meant to be harmed by. Heaven saw a danger forming in silence, a motive hiding behind kindness, a plan wrapped in charm, and God stepped in before the impact could reach her. These sudden exits aren't losses, they're rescue missions. She doesn't see the trap, But God does, and He refuses to let her walk into it. Sometimes He removes someone because their energy is draining her destiny. Sometimes He shuts a door because their influence is poisoning her purpose. Sometimes He disconnects her from people she loves because their presence is delaying the chapter she was designed to step into. And while the separation hurts, there is always a moment, sometimes months later, sometimes years, when she looks back and whispers, "Thank you, God. I didn't know, but you did." That realization becomes the turning point. She starts to recognize the pattern. The faster someone disappears, the more dangerous they were to her future. But here is where the mystery deepens. Because God doesn't just remove people to protect her, He removes them to make room. Room for alignment, room for elevation, room for a connection she can trust. Something, or someone, is being prepared. And this sudden silence is not an ending. It's the clearing of a sacred path. The question now is, who was God protecting her from, and what blessing is He positioning next? The answer is already moving toward her. Sign 3. Her discernment becomes uncomfortably sharp. There comes a point in a chosen woman's life when her intuition stops being a gentle nudge and becomes a piercing warning. It's subtle at first, a strange heaviness around certain people, a quiet discomfort in places that used to feel familiar, a sudden shift in her body when someone lies with a smile. She can't explain it logically, and she doesn't always have evidence to justify it, but something inside her starts ringing like a spiritual alarm. This is not paranoia. This is not overthinking. This is discernment, sharpened by isolation, intensified by prayer, and activated by divine protection. When she has no one but God, He begins to speak to her in ways she never noticed before. Not through thunder, but through uneasiness. Not through visions, but through sudden clarity. Not through explanations, but through feelings that refuse to be ignored. She starts sensing the truth behind people's words. She detects hidden jealousy disguised as support. She feels the energy behind someone's intentions long before their actions reveal it. Environments that once felt safe now feel spiritually polluted. Conversations that used to sound harmless now feel draining and heavy. Faces that used to comfort now make her spirit recoil. This sensitivity isn't comfortable. It's intrusive, intense, and at times overwhelming. But that's the point. Discernment is not designed to soothe her. It's designed to shield her. God sharpens it to warn her before damage occurs, to alert her before manipulation begins, to guide her away from places where her purpose would suffocate. And the more connected she becomes to God, the faster she detects deception. The more isolated she becomes, the more powerful her spiritual radar grows. The more she relies on Him alone, the more clearly she hears the quiet whisper saying, "Pay attention. Something isn't right." This is why people often say she's changed, or she's too distant, or she's overreacting. They don't understand that her spirit is responding to information their eyes can't see. She's no longer moving based on logic. She's moving based on revelation. And soon, this sharpened discernment will expose something she never expected. A truth hidden in plain sight, waiting for the exact moment to be revealed. Sign 4. Unexpected peace finds her in the middle of chaos. There is a moment in every chosen woman's journey when the world expects her to collapse, but instead, something strange happens. While pressure rises, while responsibilities suffocate, while storms rage around her with no sign of slowing down, she suddenly feels a calm that makes no logical sense. Her heart stops racing, her mind stops spiraling, her spirit stops trembling. It's as if an invisible blanket has been placed over her soul, softening the noise, quieting the fear, and steadying her breath. This peace is not natural, it's not emotional, it's not psychological, it is supernatural. People around her might assume she's numb or disconnected, but she knows this feeling is different. It's not the absence of pain, it's the presence of God. It's not that the chaos disappeared, it's that God stepped into the center of it and took control. This kind of peace doesn't argue with reality, and it doesn't pretend everything is fine. Instead, it whispers, "Even here, you are held." What makes this peace so powerful is that it arrives at the precise moment she feels she has nothing left. When she's one step away from breaking, that quiet stillness comes like a hand on her shoulder, steadying her before she collapses. It's not a feeling she creates, it's a gift she receives, and the timing is always divine. She begins to notice this pattern. Every time a situation should overwhelm her, something inside her becomes unshakable. This inner calm frustrates her enemies, confuses the people watching from the outside, and strengthens her identity as someone protected by a force they cannot understand. Because peace in the middle of chaos is not normal. It is evidence. Evidence that God is carrying the weight she can no longer hold. Evidence that she is surrounded even when alone. Evidence that her spirit is shielded even when her life looks fragile. And yet, there's something more. This peace isn't just comfort. It's preparation. It signals that something is shifting behind the scenes, that heaven is positioning her for the next phase of her journey. Something is about to move, and this unusual calm is the first sign that the battlefield around her is being rearranged. The question now is, what is God preparing her for? The next sign will reveal the answer. Sign 5. Enemies fail without her fighting them. There comes a moment in a chosen woman's story when she realizes something astonishing. The battles she feared the most never actually reached her. Attacks that were whispered behind her back suddenly collapse. Plots formed in secret fall apart before they even begin. People who tried to sabotage her end up tripping over the very traps they set. And she didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She didn't expose anyone. She didn't even lift a finger, because when God chooses to protect a woman, He removes the need for her to fight battles that were never hers to fight. Enemies expect her to panic. They expect her to retaliate. They expect her to spiral emotionally. But instead, she stays calm. And that calmness is what terrifies them. Not because she's ignoring the situation, but because something in her spirit already knows the outcome. She feels a strange confidence rising inside her, even when circumstances look threatening. That confidence is a message from heaven. Stand still. This one is mine. While her enemies are busy strategizing, God is dismantling. While they try to gather information, God is scattering their plans. While they speak against her, God is reversing their words. It's almost poetic how things unfold. The harm they intended circles back to them. The lies they spread expose themselves. The jealousy they concealed begins to rot everything they touch. She doesn't witness the whole process, but she sees the results. Suddenly, someone who once bragged about hurting her loses access, loses influence, or loses interest entirely. Suddenly, a conflict that should have escalated ends in silence. Suddenly, someone who tried to damage her reputation ends up revealing their own flaws. And she starts noticing a pattern. Every time she stays quiet, God moves louder. Every time she walks away, God walks in. Every time someone tries to dim her light, God strengthens it until it shines through every attempt to cover it. Some call it karma. Others call it coincidence. But a chosen woman knows exactly what it is. It's divine justice operating without her involvement. And here's the twist that pulls her deeper into her destiny. These failed attacks are only the surface. Behind them lies something far greater, a shift God is orchestrating that will reveal exactly why so many battles were handled for her. The next sign uncovers that revelation. Sign 6. Closed doors become life-saving shields. There are few pains sharper than the sting of rejection, and for a chosen woman, that sting is unforgettable. When a door slams shut, a job, a friendship, a relationship, an opportunity she prayed for, it shakes her spirit. She replays every detail, wondering if she misread the moment, if she wasn't good enough, if she somehow caused the collapse. But what she doesn't see immediately is the invisible danger behind that closed door. She doesn't see the chaos God blocked. She doesn't see the spiritual contamination He shielded her from. She doesn't see the hidden intentions, the quiet betrayals, the silent traps that were waiting on the other side. What she interprets as a setback is often a rescue. What she calls disappointment, heaven calls intervention. God does not close doors to punish His chosen daughter. He closes them because He knows exactly what would have happened if they stayed open. Maybe the opportunity was wrapped in temptation. Maybe the relationship was rooted in manipulation. Maybe the environment looked promising but carried spiritual rot beneath the surface. And because she has a soft heart, a loyal spirit, and a tendency to give too much, God protects her from the things she doesn't realize would have drained her, broken her, or delayed her purpose. What makes this sign so powerful and so frustrating is that God often gives no explanation. The door simply shuts, sometimes violently, sometimes overnight, sometimes in a way that leaves her breathless. And she stands there, staring at the closed entrance, not knowing that she just avoided a spiritual ambush. With time, though, she begins to notice the pattern. Every rejection led her somewhere safer. Every ending put her back on the right path. Every no created space for a yes that aligned with her destiny instead of destroying it. And this is where the revelation strikes her. She wasn't being excluded. She was being protected. She wasn't being pushed out. She was being pulled forward. Everything that didn't work out was never meant to carry her into the next chapter God designed for her. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because when God closes a door to shield a chosen woman, He's not just protecting her from something. He's preparing her for something. And that preparation is about to reveal a strength she didn't know she had. Sign 7. Her strength grows in ways impossible without God. There is a transformation that only happens in isolation. A kind of inner rebuilding that cannot take place when a chosen woman is surrounded, supported, or comforted by others. When she has no one but God, something supernatural awakens inside her. Something that does not look like ordinary courage or typical confidence, but a strength forged in silence, pressure, and divine presence. It begins subtly. She notices she doesn't react to things the way she used to. The wounds that once shattered her now only sting. The chaos that once overwhelmed her now feels manageable. The voices that once intimidated her now sound small. She starts rising differently. She starts thinking differently. She starts walking like someone who knows she is carried by something greater than herself. This strength is not loud. It is not performative. It grows quietly, deep in the places where only God has access. It's the kind of strength that teaches her to let go without fear, to wait without panic, to trust without proof. It sharpens her purpose. It steadies her emotions. It makes her grounded in a way she didn't even know was possible. She becomes wiser, not from books, not from advice, but from revelation. She sees through people faster. She recognizes cycles sooner. She identifies distractions instantly. And then something even more extraordinary happens. Her glow returns. Not the glow she had before life hurt her. A new one. A glow born from healing she didn't expect. Resilience she didn't ask for. And victories she didn't fight for. This glow unsettles those who thought she'd remain broken, confuses those who underestimated her, and inspires those who had given up on themselves. God's protection doesn't just shield her from harm. It forges her into a version of herself that only divine pressure can create. She doesn't rise as the woman she used to be. She rises as the woman she was meant to become. A woman whose resilience is unshakable. A woman whose spirit is unmovable. A woman whose destiny is undeniable. But what makes this final sign so powerful is what comes next. Because once this supernatural strength emerges, God doesn't just protect her, He positions her. And the moment of positioning is closer than she thinks. Chosen woman. Pause for a moment and feel what is happening inside you right now. That stirring in your chest, that warmth rising in your spirit, that sudden clarity. That is the sound of chains breaking, weights lifting, and truth finally taking its rightful place inside your soul. Everything you experienced up to this moment wasn't random, wasn't punishment, and wasn't abandonment. It was preparation. It was heaven rewriting your story behind the scenes, strengthening you in secret so you could rise in public. You see, every tear you cried was collected. Every injustice you endured was witnessed. Every attack that tried to take you out was intercepted. God didn't just watch you walk through fire. He stepped into the flames with you, shielding you from what should have burned you alive. You didn't survive because you were tough. You survived because you were protected, carried, guarded by a strength that cannot be measured, delayed by a wisdom that cannot be questioned, and elevated by a love that cannot be stopped. And now the shift begins. A shift where the wounds that once weakened you become the wisdom that guides you. A shift where the silence you once feared becomes the space where God speaks the loudest. A shift where everything that was taken from you becomes the fuel for what God is about to release into your hands. The season you are entering is not ordinary. It is prophetic. It is purposeful. It is the chapter where God's protection becomes so visible that even you will stand in awe of how far you've come. You are stepping into a territory where attacks lose their power, where fear loses its grip, where discouragement loses its voice. The woman you are becoming is a threat to everything that once threatened you. Your spirit is stronger, your discernment is sharper, your purpose is clearer, and heaven is aligning every detail of your path with precision. This is your rising, your unveiling, your divine appointment with the version of yourself God always knew you would become. And hear this with the full weight of heaven behind it. Nothing that was meant to break you will follow you into this next season. The doors that closed behind you were necessary. The betrayals that removed people were strategic. The battles you didn't have to fight were won for you long before you even knew they existed. So if this message awakened something deep inside you, if it felt like God was speaking directly to the parts of you no one else sees, then seal this moment with your voice. Declare in the comments, with boldness and certainty, God has been protecting me all along. Say it as a proclamation. Say it as a reminder. Say it as a spiritual mark on your future. Because from this moment forward, you are walking with a new identity, covered, chosen, and unstoppable. Your story is shifting, your atmosphere is changing, and your destiny is opening right before you. And may you leave this video carrying one unshakable truth. You were never alone. You were being prepared for greatness.